Who is Moses? Short answer, he's the guy who led the Hebrews out of slavery in Egypt and into the Promised Land. But that's a huge oversimplification of this complex historical figure. Born a Hebrew, Moses was raised as an Egyptian prince after being rescued as an infant from the Nile River. He grew up in luxury, but he couldn't ignore the suffering of his people, the enslaved Hebrews. So after killing an Egyptian taskmaster who was beating a Hebrew, he fled to Egypt and lived in exile in Midian for 40 years. One day while tending sheep, he heard God speaking to him from a burning bush, telling him to go back to Egypt and lead his people to freedom. Reluctantly, Moses agreed and confronted Pharaoh, demanding the release of the Hebrews. But Pharaoh refused, so God unleashed 10 devastating plagues upon Egypt. Finally, after the death of the firstborn sons in Egypt, Pharaoh relented. Moses then led the Hebrews out of Egypt, and when Pharaoh tried to pursue them, God parted the Red Sea, allowing Moses and his people to escape. In the wilderness, Moses guided the people for 40 years, teaching them to trust in God and receive the 10 Commandments. Though Moses died before entering the Promised Land, his legacy as a prophet and leader endured, shaping the faith and identity of the Hebrew people for generations.